On site of the 2023 Men's Final Four, Christian Hernandez here, reporting with Sports Video Group. We're with our good friends with Van Wagner, Daniel Zerunyan, Ryan Kehn. You guys make me look very short. Daniel, how are things been for you? How's the past couple of days been in Texas?
It's been great. We've been here for almost a week now. Been getting ready, just making sure that everything will be ready for the Final Four, starting tomorrow. Yeah. So it's been great.
Ryan, how are you doing?
Hanging in, some long nights, just like any other of these events. It's a quick turnaround, a lot to do in a short amount of time. We do our best to be as prepared as we can, but yeah, we're looking good. Things are looking sharp in the arena and ready to tip off tomorrow.
Right, ready to get going. I'll go with this question with you first before going back to Daniel. Unique situation here being in Houston because the control room isn't actually inside the stadium. We're here where the NRG Center, right, with the Rodeo team. Talk about what it's like for your perspective being in this control room where you're not actually in the same building with the show that you're kind of producing and directing and making possible.
Sure, yeah. I mean, from a creative standpoint, right, it adds an extra layer of complexity. If we want to throw something out on the boards and go take a peek, well, we better have somebody over there, and there's just a lot of communication back and forth to dial things in. It's not like I can just poke my head out the room and look in the bowl. So that adds some complexity to it and some extra coordination. Yeah, it's a mile, just about a mile from our office here in the NRG Center next door to the booth.
Right.
So you got to account for the time and the extra time it takes there to get all that stuff loaded and checked to make sure everything looks good, and a couple other steps in the game of telephone,
right,
and proofing content and all that.
Sure.
So,
as one of the people that are over there making that mile walk, right? What's it been like for you being over there and having to communicate with Ryan? Thankfully, before we did this interview, you said thankfully you got communications and phones and all that stuff. But is it a little different that you're not next to Ryan or near the team when you're doing your job?
Yeah, I mean, definitely super different. Because at the end of the day, like, things can't be changed really quickly. I'm like, all right, what's going on? How are we going to do this? Thankfully, we've got a great team in here that's able to kind of react and be able to make those changes on the fly. But again, like you said, it is a walk. Man, my step count for this week, it's going to be a lot. But, we make it happen.
Right. And operationally, you're working with the Rodeo centerhung, different than what you're kind of used to working with at a Final Four or a CFP. Does that make your job a little bit harder? What are the issues that you have to account for when you're making content or just doing your daily job?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a little bit different than other events. But, with my past experience and our past experience, I should say, we've been able to kind of figure out the best solution for it all. And it's going really well. We're excited with the centerhung. It's bigger, like you said, than other years. And we've been able to kind of dial it in, and it's going to be a great experience out there for those fans. I can't wait.
Right. I've asked Ryan this last question. As the guy who's creating content to be on that centerhung, what's it been like having to prepare for two schools that you may not have thought back at the beginning of March Madness would be in, right? FAU and San Diego State. Was there a little bit of a kind of an oh crap moment, kind of having to figure that out, or what's it been like?
We work very hard to avoid the oh crap moments, and smart templating and foresight make that pretty easy. Where we're down to just a couple button switches, and if the school, God forbid, dropped out tomorrow, it'd take us just a couple hours to hit a couple switches and re-render out some content. So from that perspective, we set ourselves up pretty well. It's just turning around things here is a lot, but we're trying to be smart using the tools that we have available to us in this control room. Obviously, we're very expression savvy in our show productions, and what's cool to see this year versus the last time we were here in 2016 is we're driving a lot more with expression. We're doing a lot more on the giant end zone boards here and on the centerhung itself, driving more stats content and interactive type content and fan engagement type things. And we're able to do a lot more of that just at the the stroke of a button, whereas several years ago there was a lot more rendering. There were some things we didn't do years ago because of the that render time where it adds that additional drag. So yeah, it's a combination of efficiencies both in pre-production and in the live execution of some stuff. And it adds to a much more dynamic show.
Right.
And better fan experience.
And similar to our other interviews, it all comes down to preparation, right? Making sure that you're prepared, getting things done beforehand, and making sure the show goes with as minimal hiccups as possible. Ryan, thank you for the time. Daniel, thank you for the time. Good luck this weekend, and good to see you guys.
Yeah, great to see you again, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Daniel Zerunyan, Ryan Kehn. For more interviews like this one with our friends at Wagner, head over to our website at sportsvideo.org.